Hi, I'm Jason Pogue, and I'm the high school pastor at Saddleback Church. Welcome back to another session of On Track Parents. In case this happens to be your first On Track Parents session you've participated in, let me welcome you. Our On Track Parents video sessions are designed to be viewed alone, with a spouse or a partner, or in a small group setting. So be sure to check out the reflection questions at the end of this video to make the most out of this session. This session lands toward the end of our Phases of Parenting series, where we're taking a look at the different phases you'll find yourself in as a parent as your child grows up. Each phase is unique, so it's important that you, as parents, understand each phase, appreciate how a particular phase affects your child, and adjust your parenting strategy accordingly. In fact, if you've listened to any of the other Phases of Parenting sessions, you've probably heard those three key words before: understand, appreciate, and adjust. Those are our three primary goals for you as you parent through the phases. So let's get down to it. In this session, we're focusing on the high school phase of parenting, the 4 years of grades 9 through 12 that are unique in so many ways. What's so unique about raising high school children, you ask? First, high schoolers are still developing in the same ways they were in junior high. They are changing physically, intellectually, socially, and spiritually. And depending on whether they are early or late developers, they can be in a very different developmental stage in some of these areas than their peers. Then add these things into the mix: driving, dating, varsity sports, SAT tests, more dating, facial hair, first jobs, college applications, and even more dating, increased peer pressure, more aware and concern about social status, and the list goes on and on and on. If the junior high years can be best described by the word change, then the best word for the high school phase might be busy. Or maybe a better word is anxious. Maybe the best word is uncertainty. Okay, perhaps the safest way to describe the high school phase of parenting is simply that words can't describe it, because it's different for every child and for every family. And as busy as high school can be, as anxious as you and your child may feel as you navigate it together, and as uncertain as it all is, the high school phase can also be an incredibly rich and meaningful and bonding season between you and your child. In my role as a high school pastor, I've witnessed over and over how meaningful this phase can be to the long-term health of your relationship with your child. So enjoy it. Yes, it's 4 years, but those 4 years will be gone in the blink of an eye. Remember, the days are long, but the years are short. For a quick review, in case this happens to be your first On Track Parent session, for the sake of these videos, we've described your goal, your purpose for parenting this way. The purpose of parenting is to raise children to be interdependent, lifelong followers of Jesus who desire to make a kingdom contribution. If you haven't watched the session entitled The Purpose of Parenting, I'd encourage you to do so you can see how we unpack this idea as the primary goal parents should have for their children. And along the way, as your children grow, they go through phases. And as parents, you have different roles to play along the way. When your child is a newborn or a kindergartner, your primary role is that of a caregiver. When your child is in elementary school, your primary role is that of a cop or a corrector. In the junior high phase, your role transitions to the all-important role of cheerleader. It's important to remember that you don't completely abandon each of these previous roles as you enter a new phase of parenting. To some extent, you'll always play all of these roles. But because each phase is so unique, your primary role does change from phase to phase. In the high school years, your primary role changes from cheerleader to coach. You're still a caregiver, but not like you have been in the past. You're still a cop or a corrector, but again, it looks a little bit different now. And your high schooler still desperately needs to know that you are their biggest fan, cheering them on. But shifting to the role of coach is significant and important. You're still in charge, but it should start to look a little different. You're on the sidelines more than ever. You're giving the occasional pep talk. You're calling a timeout when you need to help them regroup and get a new game plan. Your time with them is more limited than ever before. So you're teaching them how to think on their own and make game time decisions. In short, the game is becoming theirs to play. And if it all works out, they may even dump a bucket of Gatorade on your head on graduation night. So what are some of your goals as a parent, as a coach to your high schooler? Well, there's certainly plenty, but here are a few that I think will help them navigate their high school years as well as set them up for their future. I'll move through these fairly quickly because they're actually fairly simple. They're important, but they're simple. First, provide important and well-timed input. Mom, Dad, your days of paying attention to and providing input about all the little stuff in their life are over. And when you do provide input, it should be mostly limited to what's most important and wisely timed. When possible, try to limit the amount of directives or non-negotiables that you input and provide to their life. Give them insight, guidance, and encouragement as needed. Because your high schooler must learn to navigate life on their own, you want to save your most direct input to the areas of highest concern. In short, when you quit paying attention and giving input into all the little things, your high schooler will pay more attention to you when you have to speak into the bigger things. So choose your battles wisely. You'll have to decide for yourself what qualifies as the bigger things, but I'll say this, it's probably not as much as you think. Another goal is to help them discover their unique shape. God has shaped your child in a unique way. He's wired your high schooler that isn't like any other human being on the planet, which is part of the reason your parenting journey hasn't looked like the parenting journey of other parents. You aren't like other parents, and your child isn't like other kids. The high school years are vital years for your child to begin to recognize and appreciate the unique way God has shaped and wired them. They have specific skills, abilities, experiences, and passions. They have a unique personality, quirks, and opinions. And high school is the time for you to help them begin to think about how all of these things might work together to help them fulfill God's unique plan for their life. Speaking of God's unique plan for their life, another goal for you as a parent in this phase is to help them develop a sense of purpose. High schoolers certainly don't need to feel pressured to figure out exactly how their life's purpose will play out. I mean, most of us are still figuring that out. But they should begin to understand that God does have a unique plan for their life, that they were created on purpose for a purpose. Here's a hint. Part of God's purpose for their life is the same for everybody, that they would be interdependent, lifelong followers of Jesus with a desire to make a kingdom contribution. What's unique and what you can help them begin to understand is how that will look for them. Choosing if or where to go to college, what type of a career to pursue, and other looming decisions will be influenced as they recognize the unique way that God has shaped them. And this sets us up for one more goal, helping them begin to plan for what life looks like after school. This is perhaps the toughest area for most parents to truly limit themselves to the role of a coach. And I get it. The decisions your high schooler makes about the years immediately following high school often set them up for what life looks like for the rest of their lives. So no pressure. And this is often why the domino effect kicked in early on in our parenting journey, because the post-high school years are so important. Parents work hard to control every aspect of their child's high school experience, which often began by controlling their junior high experience. In some cases, early childhood decisions, such as picking the right school district or getting the proper tutoring or involvement in sports and other extracurricular activities, they were motivated by the desire on the parents' part to set the stage for acceptance into the college of their child's dreams, or the college of their own dreams. And while the domino effect of raising children in their early years in ways that set them up later is good and natural, high school is when parents must let their child speak into the process. A good coach, remember, your role in this phase is not to control, but to coach. A good coach allows the player to navigate the game on their own. Should your child attend college? If so, what type of college? What specific college? And what should they study? If they aren't headed to college, what are their plans after high school graduation? What type of career do they think they might want to pursue? What type of lifestyle do they hope to provide for themselves and their family someday? These are all the types of conversations that you should be having with your high schooler so that you can coach them along the way, providing important and well-timed input. For each phase, we've also provided you with a spiritual goal that we think is helpful as your child grows in their understanding of and their relationship with Jesus Christ. In the early years, the goal is for your child to see your faith. In other words, you simply model it for them. In the elementary phase, the goal is for you to begin to nurture their faith, that you would be more intentional in helping them see the faith in Jesus as a personal relationship. In junior high, your goal is to help them own their faith, to make a personal decision to follow Jesus. And in high school, your goal is to help your child activate their faith, to put their faith into action using their shape, their wiring, their passions to make a difference in the world. This is a great season to help them think of ways to use their gifts in ministry and service to others, and to begin to develop a bigger picture of what that might look like as they head into college and/or a career. High school is a strategic time to coach your kids that their ultimate purpose in life isn't just to get into the right college, to have a great career, or marry their dream partner, but that all of those things are meant to be used in one way or another to help them fulfill their ultimate purpose of making a kingdom impact, however that might look. As the parent of a high schooler myself, and as a high school pastor who has served thousands of families, I understand how wild the high school ride can be. Our desires for our kids, mixed with all the nuances in the terrain they are navigating, can make for a bumpy ride. And oftentimes, instead of being the calm, cool, and collected coaches we know we should be, parents can find themselves in the role of the loud, controlling, demanding coach who is never satisfied and always has a harsh word of criticism. When you find yourself slipping into that type of a coaching style, remember this verse from James 1:9. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Let me close by paraphrasing that verse this way. Hey parents, as you coach your high school child, be sure to listen more than you talk. Don't overreact and get upset over the little things so that you have trust and credibility to coach them in the stuff that matters most. Thanks for joining us for this session of On Track Parents. Be sure to download the reflection questions that will help you process some of what we've covered.